Yeah, put mine. So mine behind you and them. Okay.
Yeah, I like that angle. And the blocks are yours. You gotta use some blocks today. I know you'll probably need them.
Why do I get the purple one?
Because this one's my favorite, Matt. So today I have Esteban with me. We have him with me so that way you can actually sometimes see two different variations of certain things. He is a little bit more on the beginner side. I still think he actually can do most of what I do.
It'll be a good example because I'm really stiff, so at least you guys, you get to see someone who's just not doing it that well, and just compare to yourself or something. You don't feel so bad about it,
Yeah, we don't. I always say too, it's at home. No judgments, no worries, no concern. Okay, so getting started, we're gonna sit in a comfortable cross-legged seated position. Bring your palms up over the knees or thighs, or you can always have your hands kind of in a little circle in the center. Sit with your shoulders nice and relaxed, tall, and let your eyes close with a few blinks. Feel that tailbone tucked under slightly, chest a little puffed, and be reaching tall through the crown of that head. Just follow your natural breath for a little bit. Give yourself that chance to really just arrive on the mat and arrive in your own space. Allowing yourself the time to feel the natural breath. See where it goes as you breathe, what lifts, what drops. Notice if the breath is a little bit shallow, maybe still a bit rapid, or if it's nice and smooth. If you find that the breath is still rapid, having patience, just start to lengthen the breath. Take those nice long inhales, long exhales. Really feel with every inhale, every inch and corner of the body lifting and rising, opening and expanding. And every exhale, let your body relax for that moment. Still focusing on those lengthy breaths. Let every inhale make you feel more light and more calm. Using the exhales to start to release any negativity, any tension within you, breathe it out. Inhale in that positivity, contentment, and exhale out anything that no longer serves you. We focus on that lengthy breath to really keep us anchored in the present moment, the here and now. If your mind does wander though, no judgment. We just take some time to acknowledge where our thoughts came from, where the mind wandered to, and then continue with that practice of just pushing the thoughts aside and coming back to the breath each and every time. It may feel like your mind is darting only 5 times, maybe it'll dart 50 times, but it doesn't matter. Continue with the practice, each day is different. You just see where the mind is at, and then come back to the breath. Taking a few more deep inhales and exhales, really coming into that moment, staying in the present. With your next few breaths, just scan the body from head to toe, seeing how everything is feeling, every muscle, every joint. Be aware of any injuries or soreness so that way you can respect that throughout your entire practice, as well as your energy levels. Bringing a bit of movement to our body, start to roll those shoulders forwards a few times, nice big but slow movements. And then rolling the shoulders backwards a few. And allow the shoulders to relax with a few gentle blinks. Let the eyes open up. Start by bringing the right ear to the right shoulder. Bring your right hand over to the left ear and just tug down gently. Really allow your neck to feel that it's opening up. We want to release any tension there. You can even reach that left arm out to the side, fingertips just hovering above the mat, and then even draw that hand towards the back to help deepen the stretch. Breathe into the neck, let it open up. And release, bringing that left ear to the left shoulder, left hand over to your right ear, and again, just tug down gently. Maybe reach that right arm out to the side again, fingertips just above the floor, and then draw the hand towards the back. Deepen the stretch for yourself. I always start with neck stretches. You'll find that throughout every video. We want to release most of the tension that we hold there. And release. And bring the hands to the mat in front of you and start to walk them over to the left side. Just going in for that gentle twist. Left arm reaches further behind the body. Right hand can be used against the knee to help push a bit deeper. Keep those shoulders nice and wide. Still try to sit nice and tall. And take your gaze towards the back. But if you do have any injuries or arthritis in the neck, just keep your gaze forwards. And begin to walk the hands back to the center and over to the right. Right hand a little bit further behind you, left hand against the knee to help push a bit deeper. Shoulders wide, gaze to the back. And then walking your hands back to the center. We're going to reach the right arm across to the left and use that left hand or arm to help pull the right arm in towards the body. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed. We don't want to hug them up to our ears by this point. And if you do find that your elbow tends to bend a lot, you can use that left hand and grab the elbow and push from there instead. Just take a few nice breaths. And then switching it up, we're going to release and reach that left arm across to the right. Right arm or hand helps pull that left arm in towards the body. Still keep the shoulders relaxed. Few deep breaths. Remember, you can always grab a hold of the elbow if you need to help push it towards the back. And release. Reach the arms out to the sides with the palms facing forwards. As you inhale, we're going to turn the palms up towards the ceiling, trying to keep rotating them as far as they can go. And as you exhale, turn the palms back towards the front, down towards the mat, and then towards the back. Again, as far as you can rotate. Inhale, rotate them back up. And exhale, rotate them down. Just working with the shoulders a lot here too. Inhale, rotate them up. Exhale, rotate down. Another inhale as you rotate up. And last exhale, rotate down. And then just give your arms a little bit of a shake. And then we're going to step our feet out in front of us with the knees bent and just let them rock a little side to side. Always try to keep that chest facing a bit more forwards. We don't want to roll our entire body to the side. Just try to work with a bit of the hips here. And even step your feet a bit further apart. Again, you can rock the knees a little side to side. Try to press those knees down when you get there. Starting to dig a little bit into the fascia, warming everything up in our hips. Keeping them nice and loose. And then just swing your knees to one side and come right up to a neutral tabletop. Keep your wrists underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. Now here we're going to work with just isolating our shoulder blades for this point. So we're going to try to keep the hips, the lower back as stiff as we can. Activate that core. It's like feeling your belly button sucking up to the spine. Just the shoulder blades as you inhale, start to squeeze them together. And as you exhale, push them apart. Continue with your natural breath. Every inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Every exhale, push those shoulder blades apart. Notice how the low back is still a little bit stiff here. That's what we want to keep it. We don't want to sink our stomachs to the mat just yet. It might take a little bit of time to get used to this as well, but all in time. Just keep patience with your body. At some point, you can even try this in front of a mirror to really notice what your body is doing. Gain more of that awareness. And after your next natural exhale, come back to your neutral tabletop. Now isolating just our pelvis, just the hips here. The low back will move a little bit, but we want to keep the upper body as stiff as we can. Use that core, and as you inhale, tilt the pelvis up. And exhale, tilt that pelvis down. Continue with the breath. Every inhale, tilt the pelvis up. Every exhale, tilt the pelvis down. Still remember that the low to mid back will move with you on this one. We just don't want to be sinking our entire bodies yet. Just work with that pelvis. This sometimes is Usually the more harder one for people to start to practice isolating, but just in time. Again, you can always do this in front of a mirror at some point to see how your body's working with you. After your next natural exhale, come back to that neutral tabletop. Connecting it all together as we inhale, sink the stomach down toward the mat, tilt that head and pelvis up. Exhale, reach high with the mid-back, tuck the head and pelvis under. Inhale, sink, squeeze those shoulder blades together. And exhale, rise, push those shoulder blades apart. Continue with your natural breath, following every inhale. At the top, have your stomach sunk to that lowest point. And at the end of every exhale, have your mid-back reaching that highest point. Really be connecting with the breath here. Still make sure that you feel those palms flat to the mat, fingertips spread out. And after your next natural exhale, start to make your way back to that neutral tabletop. As we inhale, open your chest to the right and reach that right arm all the way up to the ceiling. And exhale back down to the mat. Inhale, open your chest to the left, reach that left arm all the way up. And exhale back down. Inhale to the right, always try to twist more with that upper back. Exhale down. Inhale to the left. And exhale back down. On this inhale, we're going to reach the right arm forwards and left leg up behind us. Just holding here, activate that core, suck that belly button to the spine, and feel that left hip dropping down a bit so that way it's in line with the right. Try not to sink into your shoulder, keep that upper back slightly rounded. Holding here deep in that breath. If you are used to this and you want to take it a little bit further, bend that back leg so the foot's in the air. Reach the right arm, grab a hold of the foot, and try to lift it up even higher, giving yourself a nice little back bend. Gaze forwards. And release back down to the mat. Inhale, left arm forwards, right leg up behind you. Hold here. Feel that right hip this time dropping down a bit. Keep them parallel to one another. Keep the shoulders nice and strong. Deepen that breath. Again, to deepen it here if you want, you can reach that right foot a little bit higher in the air. Grab a hold of it with the left hand. Press the foot into the hand as you lift it up, giving yourself a bit more of that back bend. And release back to the mat. Take the knees a little bit wider apart, sit back on the heels, and reach those arms forwards for a quick child's pose. Bring the forehead to the mat. Here, you always want to make sure that you feel those shoulder blades dropping down the back, the crown of the head, feel it reaching forwards. That way you're actively lengthening that spine. You can always keep the knees together as well if you prefer. I just always tend to like the knees apart so our stomach can sink down in between. Nice few deep breaths. And then begin to lift yourself back up to that neutral tabletop. We're going to step the right foot up behind us, tuck the toes under, and just push the heel down. Just get a nice light toe stretch. You can always pulse a little bit here if you prefer, just remain static. And then begin to roll to the inside edge of that right foot. Reach the right arm all the way up for a supported side plank. Maybe take your gaze to the ceiling. If you are used to this, you always can start to lift that right leg away from the mat, getting it eventually a bit parallel to the mat below you, or you can just remain with your foot to the mat. But always feel those glutes squeezing together, those hips pushing a little bit forwards, and that way the hips can be a bit more stacked. Nice deep breathing. And rolling your way back to the center, but keep that right leg out behind you. We're going to cross the right leg over the left, untuck the toes, and slide it a bit further. Reach those arms out in front. And if you feel ready, you can always walk those hands a little bit over to the left side. 2 nice breaths here. And then walk the hands back to the center. Lift your way back up to that neutral tabletop. Stepping the left foot out behind us, tuck the toes and push that heel down. Again, you can always pulse if you prefer a little bit. Just getting that light stretch in the toes, Achilles tendon and calf. And begin to roll to the inside edge of that left foot. Reach that left arm all the way up. Gaze to the ceiling. Nice and slow, you can always lift that left leg away from the mat, eventually getting it parallel to the mat below. Deepen that breath. You can always even just tap your foot up a little bit, gaining the balance there. Just see where it's at if you're not ready yet to fully lift that leg away from the mat. Begin to roll your way back to the center, left leg still where it is. Lift it up and cross it over the right, untuck the toes and slide it a bit further. Reach those arms out in front of you. And when you're ready, start to walk the hands a little bit over to the right. Again, just getting that nice side body stretch, even stretching a little bit into the glutes here. 2 nice deep breaths. Begin to walk your way back to the center. Start to lift yourself to that neutral tabletop. Here we're going to step both feet out behind us for a nice high plank. As the one, we'll hold here in the high plank, and I'll drop to my knees. A variation you can do as well. We want to work again just with the shoulder blades, building some strength for our posture. So as you inhale, squeeze those shoulder blades together, and exhale as you push the shoulder blades apart. Inhale again, squeeze them together. Exhale, push the shoulder blades apart. Inhale together. Exhale apart. Inhale together. Last exhale apart. Holding here, you want to make sure that your elbows are squeezing a little bit more towards the ribs. Start to reach your chest forwards a little bit and lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Inhale as you straighten the arms up into an upward facing dog. If you can, try to stay rested on the tops of your feet and lift those hips and thighs away from the mat. Feel the chest puffing forwards. Nice deep breaths. And on your next exhale, lift those hips up a bit. Open up the knees and sit back in another child's pose. Forehead to that mat. And begin to lift yourself back up to that neutral tabletop. Step the feet towards the hands, resting in a forward fold, palms flat to the mat. Knees can be bent as much as you need so your stomach is resting against the thighs. Neck relaxed. And from here, we're just going to slowly roll our way up to standing. From here, we're going to inhale the arms up and exhale, forward fold. Again, palms flat to the mat, knees bent as much as you need. Let that neck relax. Inhale as you place your hands to the shins and lift halfway up. Nice flat back here by squeezing the shoulder blades together. Reach forward to the crown of the head and exhale, forward fold. Inhale the arms all the way back up and exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, lift halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Another inhale, arms up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, lift halfway up. And on this exhale, bring your hands to the mat, step back in a high plank. Here you can always use your knees as well as you lower in chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, straighten those arms, puff that chest. And exhale, lift those hips up, open up the knees and sit back in a child's pose. Here you can always take a downward facing dog if you prefer. Take that gaze forwards and lift yourself back to a neutral tabletop. Step the feet towards the hands. Inhale as you bring the hands to the shins and lift halfway up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms all the way up, taking a slight back bend at the top. And exhale, hands to heart center. Here we're going to step that right foot out behind us. Stay lifted on the back toes and bend into that front knee for a high lunge. Swing the arms forwards and up and just relax the shoulders. Make sure that that front knee is right above the ankle. We don't want it shooting past, but we do still want to feel those hips sinking down a little bit towards the mat. Tuck the pelvis under slightly, that way our chest isn't pushing too far forwards. Make sure it's drawing back. Spine nice and straight, deep breathing. And then drop that back heel down, turning it in slightly. That way we just shift right to a warrior one. You can always take a bit of a shorter stance here if you need, but make sure that that front knee is still right above the ankle and you're pushing with the outside edge of that back foot. That way the ankle doesn't roll inward. A few nice deep breaths. And then opening up our arms, reaching that left arm forwards, right arm back to warrior two. Shoulders still relaxed. Feel those hips really opening to the side of the mat. Strength in the pose, in your legs. It's like you're trying to tear that mat in two with your feet. Find a point of focus to stare at, to breathe to. Then begin to drop that back hand down the back leg. Front arm reaches over your head towards that back wall. Side body stretch. Really feel the ribs opening and expanding here with the breath. And then coming back to our warrior two. Straighten up the front leg. Reach that front arm forwards and then drop it down inside the shin, reaching that right arm all the way up for Trikonasana or triangle pose. Here you can always take a block if you have one underneath that bottom hand and place your weight on it to just help with a little bit of less core work. Really feel your hips trying to open to that wall behind you, the imaginary wall. You can always take your gaze to the ceiling. One more nice deep breath. And begin to lift your way back up. If you have the block, just slide it to the side. Bring the hands to the hips. Lift up on the back toes. Turn them to point forwards, placing that heel down. Inhale, puff the chest. And exhale, reach from that chest forwards and down. Here, if you have really, really tight hamstrings or even a knee injury, you can always micro bend that front knee a little bit. Here, if you are more comfortable with the stretch and you find your hamstrings are very open, you can always start to bring your hands either again onto blocks if you have them, or you can bring them right down to the mat, but keep a nice flat back. Make sure that your shoulder blades are squeezing together and that chest is always reaching forwards and down. If you have the blocks, just slide them to the side and begin to lift yourself back up and step that back foot forwards with your feet about hip width distance apart. Inhale the arms forwards and up, and exhale, start to squat down to our chair pose. Here we want to make sure of a few things. Of course, keep the shoulders relaxed, but we tend to always stick our butts out in this pose. Tuck that pelvis under so you're lengthening through that spine. Take a look down, and if you can't see your toes, your knees are too far forwards, draw them back a little. If you want to challenge yourself, you can try to put some extra weight into the heels and peel the toes away from the mat. Deepen that breath. Maybe take heavy exhales here, let out any pressure inside you. Begin to lift yourself back up. Bring the hands to heart center. Step that left foot out behind you. Stay lifted on the toes. High lunge, bend into that front knee. Swing those arms forwards and up. And relax the shoulders. Same cues as before. Make sure that front knee is right above the ankle. Sink those hips a little bit extra. Open up our front bodies. Make sure we're drawing those ribs back a little bit. Spine nice and straight. And then drop that back heel down, turning it in slightly, warrior one. Again, you can always take that shorter stance if you need. Shoulders relaxed. And in time, you'll be able to also see where your hips are pointing. This way, you'll be able to slowly start to push that right hip back, drawing that left hip forwards. It does take a little bit of time. Don't try to force your hips to where they don't want to go. Always listen to your body. Opening up to warrior two, reaching that right arm forwards, left arm back. Still make sure your spine is nice and straight. We aren't reaching forwards yet. Find that point of focus. Make sure the front knee isn't starting to sway into the center. We want to keep it open. Draw that back hand down the back leg, front arm reaches up and over the head, side body stretch. Let those ribs open and expand with that breath. And coming back to our warrior two, straighten up the front leg, reach that front arm forwards and drop it down inside the shin, reaching that left arm all the way up. Here again, we want to feel as if we're leaning against that imaginary wall behind you. You can always use that block under the bottom hand if you have one and need it. If not, keep that core nice and active. Hips feeling like they're opening up, stacking on top of one another. You can take the gaze to the ceiling even. And begin to lift your way back up. Hands to the hips and lift up on the back toes, turning them to point forwards. Place that heel down. Inhale, puff the chest, and exhale, reach that chest forwards and down. Again, you can always micro bend the knee a little bit, especially if you have those really, really tight hamstrings. Keep those shoulder blades squeezing together, nice flat back. If you make it further down, you can always place your hands on the blocks again or hands to the mat. But if you find your back is rounding as you lower, just take that time to readjust, lift back up, flatten the back by squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then start to lower down again. 2 nice deep breaths. Start to lift your way back up and step that back leg forwards again, feet about hip width distance apart. Here we're going to bring our palms just above the butt, right beside the sacrum. Inhale as you squeeze those shoulder blades together, squeeze your glutes together as well. Exhale, start to shoot the hips forwards a bit and lean your way back. Either dropping the head completely behind you, or you can always tuck the chin to the chest, whichever works best. Keep those glutes squeezing, that'll help protect and activate that low back. You want to feel like you're really reaching up with the chest, work with the heart. Feel the heart reaching up to the ceiling. If you can't breathe anymore, you're probably reaching too far, so make sure you can still breathe. And begin to lift your way back up. Start to fold forwards till your hands reach the shins. Nice flat back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, reach forwards with the crown of the head. Just help lengthen our spine again. And then begin to roll your way back up to standing. Bring the big toes together, heels slightly apart, hands by your sides, and just let yourself close the eyes for a moment. So holding here for a few nice deep breaths. You want to really still feel your body active, slightly active, not too much, but we want to feel our toes digging into the mat, the heels flattening out. Feel the knees drawing apart from one another, pelvis tucked under slightly, which will engage the glutes. Core a little bit active, just puff the chest. Allow the shoulders to be relaxed, fingertips really spreading out. And reach tall through the crown of your head for Tandasana or mountain pose. Just giving ourselves this chance to really come back to the breath in case we lost our focus. Really feel those deep inhales, those long exhales, maybe even sigh through the mouth if you need. Trying to let go of any bit of doubt or worries we still have within us. Just breathe. Feel the heart starting to slow itself down a bit. Gentle blinks, let the eyes start to open back up. Inhale as we swing the arms all the way up, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, lift halfway up, and on this exhale, bring your hands to the mat and step just that right foot out behind you. And then drop that back knee down, untuck the toes, and just heel toe that left foot forwards to make sure it's right between the hands. From here, if you do have blocks, you can always place block underneath the hands just to give yourself a bit of height as you sink those hips forwards and down. Whether you're on the blocks or your hands, always just make sure that front knee is right above the ankle. So even though your hips are shooting forwards and down, that front knee does not move. To ease it up, just simply drag that back leg a little bit closer to you. To deepen it, just drag that back leg further away. Holding here for a few breaths, and as we do, we want to make sure that we're not feeling any sharp pinches or sharp pains. That way, if you do feel it, just ease up on a stretch because you're probably pushing a little too far. Gain that body awareness, that difference between pain and just typical discomfort that a stretch will give you. One more nice breath. And then begin to tuck the back toes underneath. Use that to help lift the hips up and try to switch up the legs, dragging that left foot back and swinging that right leg forwards. And then make sure you drop down that back knee again, untuck the toes, front foot in between the hands, knee right over the ankle. And again, you can always use your blocks if needed or hands back to the mat, making sure those hips sink forwards and down. Use every exhale to really release any pressure, any tension within the hips and legs. Allow your body to sink into the pose. Get that stretch that you need. Keep following each breath. Still even working on lengthening every inhale, every exhale. Few more breaths here. Allow that front hip flexor, that quad to start opening up. One more breath. If you have the blocks on your hands, just slide them to the side and then begin to tuck the back toes underneath again. Lift those hips and just try to drag that front leg forwards. Drop to your knees. Bring your weight to one side of the mat so you can just swivel around and kick those feet out in front. Give them a little bit of a wiggle. And then I want you to bring the soles of the feet together and let those knees fall apart for our butterfly legs. Here, just make sure that you're sitting nice and tall. Keep that back nice and flat. To do so, try to squeeze those shoulder blades together and even feel the pelvis tipping up a little bit, shifting your weight forwards. Hang on to your feet. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, reach always from the chest forwards and down. That way, if we're reaching from the chest and keeping it active, we are basically just keeping the backs flat. Again, we always focus on that nice flat back rather than rounding our spines. Try to make sure that you're not reaching the neck forwards as well. Tuck the chin under just slightly enough to have a nice straight spine right through the crown of your head. You can always use your elbows on the shins just to kind of wiggle them down a little bit further. If you do feel really tight, a little tip I will give is just a bit of movement. So sometimes I find that people, to help loosen up the hips a bit better, you need to move before holding the pose. So you can simply just fall forwards on that exhale, and every inhale, lift back up, bring the knees together, and then exhale, open the knees, reach with the chest. And you can always continue that movement maybe 5 times before actually holding the pose. But if you are feeling a little bit more flexible today, a bit more loose, just simply hold that pose for yourself. Always still work on the exhales to really just let go of any tension in the hips, in the knees, just keeping yourself nice and loose. Relax the body with the exhales, keep it heavy. Just a few more nice breaths. And then begin to lift the body back up. Use the hands on the knees and help bring them back together. Just rock your knees a little side to side, always keeping your hips nice and loose. And then stopping in the center, here we're going to go right to a split stretch. So just open up your feet, your heels as wide as they can go. We want to focus on our backs the same way we did in just our last pose. So have your hands just rest in front of the mat. Inhale, squeeze those shoulder blades together, puff the chest, and exhale, start to reach from that chest forwards and down. Same as before, we want to make sure that neck isn't reaching too far forwards. Tuck the chin under slightly, and try not to actually reach with the hands. We always tend to do that. Makes the stretch a lot easier, right? But that's because we're rounding our backs. So keep the hands just sort of as a way to secure your spot. The elbows are bent, actively reaching from the chest down. Another thing to make note of sometimes as we start to hold this pose longer, we start to almost relax our bodies too much and our feet, our toes start rolling inwards. Make sure your toes and your knees are pointing up towards the ceiling. If you have really, really tight hamstrings or knee injuries, you can always micro bend those knees a little bit, even tuck pillows or blocks underneath them if you have to. And then again, actively reach from that chest forwards and down. Just holding for a few nice deep breaths. And know that it's okay to be able to push yourself as well. That little bit, but always if you find that you're readjusting every few seconds or after even a minute, you might be pushing a little too much. So find that sweet spot where you can push, hold, and comfortably breathe. One more nice deep breath. Lift your body back up and just keep your legs where they are. Bring your right hand to the outside of your right leg. Inhale the left arm up and exhale, reach it over to the right. A nice side body stretch. Really try not to just collapse into that low back. Make sure your spine is feeling like it's lifting and then curving. You can always take your gaze to the ceiling. Use those lengthy breaths to really open up the ribs. 2 more breaths. And begin to lift your way back up. Left hand to the outside of the left leg. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale over to the left. Again, you can take your gaze to the ceiling. Just get that nice side body stretch. Let the ribs feel open. Feel that spine lengthening as it curves. And lifting yourself back up and just wiggle those legs back together. And once again, bend at the knees and let those knees rock a little bit side to side. Always love this one after any split stretch. And then stopping back in the center, we're going to scoot our way down onto our backs now. And just bring the knees to the chest so you can give them a nice tight squeeze. Hugging our knees, just rock a little side to side, giving that low back a nice massage. And then stopping in the center, bring the soles of your feet to the mat. And we're going to take that right foot and cross it over the left thigh. Use your right hand to help push the knee away from the body, just slowly opening up those hips. And when you feel ready, start to lift that left leg off the mat and bring it towards the body. Take your right hand and weave it through that hole that you just created, grabbing a hold of your left knee or even underneath the knee on the thigh if that's a little bit easier. Make sure that you want to feel that right knee pushing away from the body as the left knee comes towards the body. That way your hips are still quite parallel to one another. Keep those shoulder blades relaxed, trying to feel them as close to the mat as you can. We just want to use that arm strength to help pull the left knee in towards the body. That way we keep all unwanted tension out of the neck. Still try to relax anything from the hips, the legs, release that tension. Use the exhales to calm the body down as you deepen your stretch. If this ever feels a little bit too much, another little tip is you can always take a strap, a belt, anything like that you may have, and you can actually wrap it around the knee or underneath the knee on the thigh and hang onto it with your hands. And that way the leg can still be further away and ease your way in towards the body. Just 2 more nice breaths. And then begin to start to release. Bring that left foot to the mat. Still keep the right leg on the knee. Bring your hands to the mat beside you. And as you inhale, start to lift those hips up into the air. And this way you feel your hips rising as that right knee pushes down a little bit, actively opening the hips again. Begin to lower the hips back down and then step that right foot down. Of course, switching sides, left foot across the right thigh. Left hand, use it to help open up the knee. And when you're ready, bring that right knee towards the body, weaving your left hand through that hole that you just created, grabbing a hold of the right knee or underneath the knee on the thigh. Feel that left knee pushing away from the body as the right knee comes towards the body. Keep those hips parallel, tension out of the neck, make sure you feel your shoulders at ease. And even notice while you're sitting in these nice deep stretches, if one side is tighter than the other. It's just gaining some body awareness, get to know maybe certain things that you do on a daily basis that might actually contribute to one side being tighter than the other. And even if you do these stretches on your off time, hold the tighter side longer and eventually bring some balance back to the body. Few more nice deep breaths. Still using those exhales to relax the body as much as you can. Getting rid of any of that tension. And slowly begin to release from the pose, still keeping that left foot where it is. Hands drop down by your sides. Next inhale, start to lift those hips up into the air. Feeling that left knee pushing down, opening up as the hips rise. Even squeeze the glutes together to help lift those hips. And begin to release back to the mat. Now stepping that left foot back down. Once more, rock those knees a little side to side. This time we'll feel our glutes being lightly massaged. And stopping in the center, take that right leg and completely cross it over the left. Bring the knees towards the chest and start to let the knees fall to that left side for a nice deeper twist. You can open the arms up or go into cactus arms, which is bending at the elbows for that 90-degree angle. If this is a little bit too deep of a twist, you can always go back to that typical twist option where we uncross the legs and just keep them stacked on one another. So that's always another option that you can do if the crossed leg is just too much. Make sure to listen to your body. If you have a really tight low back, be gentle here. You can always toss a pillow or block underneath the knees to help keep them lifted if it's too tight, or simply start to push the knees away from the chest. To deepen it, bring the knees towards the chest or use the left hand on the knees to help pull them down. But you still want to try to feel that right shoulder as flat against the mat as you can. Notice the breath shortened here, but still keep the breath slow and controlled. Don't give in to the rapid breathing. And then gently start to lift those legs back up. Take a moment to uncross them. And then of course, cross that left leg over the right, knees back towards the chest, and let them slowly fall to that right side. Again, your arms can open up or be in cactus arms. Deepen the twist as much as you may need, or keep it as light as you need. Listen to the body. Notice the sides being maybe one tighter than the other. You might need to ease up more on one side than you did the last. Maybe you even felt looser yesterday or 2 days ago than you did today. Always just something to keep in mind. Our body continues to change. So don't be, hard on yourself for feeling like, oh, maybe I can't do what I did yesterday. Everything's different, and we want to listen to our bodies to give it what it needs rather than what we want right now. Still following the nice short breaths, keeping your body relaxed and at ease. Gently start to lift those knees back up. Take a moment to uncross them. Just bring the knees back to the chest, hug them nice and tight, and try to bring your forehead towards the knees. Really help neutralizing that spine, curling up in that tight little ball. And then relax the neck. Let your arms and legs just straighten down the mat. You can even open your feet towards the edges of the mat. Have your palms turned up, that way your shoulders rotate open. Feel the shoulder blades tucked underneath the body. You can always try to pull the glutes out from underneath you, letting your tailbone sink a little bit closer to the mat. Feel the chin tucked under slightly. And with a few blinks, allow your eyes to start to close for our final Shavasana. Take those nice few deep breaths before returning to your natural breathing. No need to strain the breath anymore. Just having the awareness of the breath. And we always still keep our focus on the breath, even during something like Shavasana, because it allows us to still be one with our mind, body, and soul. They all kind of come together by just having that focus on the breath. We don't have to strain it, we don't have to try so hard. Just allow your body and mind to just be. Feeling your body grounding to that mat below you. Every inhale brings you ease. inhale allows you to feel more light, more calm. Every exhale, we still always work to let go of anything that no longer serves us, releasing any heaviness, any pressure, any stresses or concerns we still have within us. Breathe it out. Because now is your time to simply just pause and feel. Choose to keep a longer Shavasana. If you do, just lay there nice and comfortable until you're ready to ease your way out. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rock your head a little side to side. And then reach those arms up above the head and take that nice long body stretch. Leaving your right arm where it is, bring the left hand to the stomach, bend at your knees, and just slowly roll to that right side, resting for a moment in the fetal position. Maybe using that right arm as a pillow for the head. Take a few nice breaths. And even use this pose as that time to really just acknowledge that you dedicated this time to your self-care, that self-love that you need and deserve. Still trying to keep the eyes closed. Use your hands to help lift your way back up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position. Keeping those palms up over the knees or thighs, shoulders relaxed, sit nice and tall, reaching through the crown of that head. Begin to exhale all remaining air. Take another nice deep inhale through the nose. Sigh through the mouth. Deep inhale through the nose. Sigh through the mouth. Last deep inhale through the nose. Release it all through the mouth. Bring your hands together at heart center and rub the palms together. Create that heat and energy. Place the palms up over your eyes, allowing that heat and energy to slowly ease its way back in, awakening your mind. With a few gentle blinks, let the eyes open into that darkness in your hands. And then bring your hands back to heart center. Namaste.